As the clock struck 3 a.m., Jake and Alex were the last remaining delivery drivers for the local pizzeria in the small rural town of Tyler, Texas. They were used to the eerie quietness that came with their job on the late shift, but something about this particular night felt different. As they drove down the dark and deserted roads to their next delivery, they noticed that the moon was obscured by a thick layer of clouds, making it even darker than usual. They were greeted by a gust of wind that seemed to come from nowhere, causing their car to shake slightly. After a few minutes, they arrived at their destination, an old, creaky farmhouse with peeling paint and a rusted tin roof. The porch light flickered on and off, casting shadows on the cracked wooden boards. As they approached the door, a feeling of unease crept over them. The air seemed to grow colder, and the sound of their footsteps echoed ominously. Alex knocked on the door, and they waited for a response. After a few moments of silence, they heard a faint whisper coming from inside the house. It was so faint that they couldn't make out what was being said, but it was enough to make their hair stand on end. Suddenly, the door creaked open, revealing a dark, musty hallway. Jake and Alex hesitated but decided to enter, thinking that the customer was inside. As they walked down the hallway, they noticed that the walls were lined with dusty portraits and antique furniture. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and decay. As they turned a corner, they saw a figure standing at the end of the hallway. It was a woman dressed in a white gown, her long hair hanging loosely over her shoulders. She was staring at them with hollow, lifeless eyes. Jake and Alex froze in fear. They couldn't move or speak, completely entranced by the woman's gaze. Suddenly, the woman started moving towards them, floating above the ground. Jake and Alex tried to run, but they felt as if they were stuck in quicksand. The woman drew closer, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Just as she was about to reach them, she disappeared into thin air. Shaken and terrified, Jake and Alex stumbled out of the house and drove away as fast as they could. They both knew that something otherworldly had happened that night, but they couldn't quite put their finger on what it was. The next day, they returned to the pizzeria to tell their boss what had happened. He listened to their story with a solemn expression before revealing a chilling secret about the farmhouse. Years ago, a young woman had lived in the house with her husband, but he had tragically died in a car accident. The woman had been so heartbroken that she had retreated into the house, refusing to leave or speak to anyone. One day, the woman had disappeared, and no one had seen or heard from her since. Legend had it that she still haunted the house, waiting for her husband to return. Jake and Alex shuddered at the thought of what could have happened to them if they had stayed in the house any longer. They both silently made a vow to never deliver pizza to that farmhouse again.